Hey there, and welcome back to the next video about the SuperFly Delta Wing. And in this video, I'm going to explain how I decided what prop was best and how to use what this is a watt meter. A watt meter measures both the voltage of the battery, the amps going through it, through the watt meter, and the watts, obviously, and it also tracks the milliamp hours. So it's a very useful tool for an electric airplane. Let me explain first some of the things I've noticed about how these electric airplanes work. When you move the throttle forward, it's not linear. Okay, the speed of the prop is not linear. So in the lower ranges, it's kind of linear, but then as you get to 50%, it starts going faster. As you get to 75%, it's really screaming. And then between like 75% and 100%, it's not changing much. And so what you want to find out is the first thing is 50% throttle ought to be where you cruise the airplane. In other words, where it just flies straight and level, hands off, and flies nicely at 50%. If you go to 75%, you might get a whole lot of thrust, but that 75% will vary by the battery, by the ESC, and the motor. So you want to determine at what point does the throttle quit being effective. It's okay that it's not effective all the way to 100%, and there's not really a good way to adjust it electronically on the radio. What I'm going to do is demonstrate this using the prop that I'm going to recommend. The prop is a APC. You get it right here, I can read it. Okay, so it's an APC 11 by 3.8 slow fly prop. Okay, and I checked a half a dozen props before I decided on this one. And but I'm going to show you how I made the test. By the way, you'll notice that the prop is being held by a prop adapter right there. So that prop adapter is a 3mm prop adapter. It's one of these from E-flite, 3 millimeters. And you'll find that these are a little more expensive, but worth it. Okay, because you can find on the internet a prop adapter that looks like this. This is plastic. Obviously, this is all aluminum, a bit stronger. And what I found is that the threads in here, because you're threading aluminum on this part into plastic on this part, and that isn't always, the strongest. But the other thing I found is that this aluminum shaft, at least on the one I got, is slightly oversized, and so that's not good, because then it's hard to get the adapter through the prop, and you have to ream it out a little, and reaming it out is not that straightforward. So, sure, you can buy these for $1 a piece on the internet. This is a better one, so that's what I use. Okay, so let me talk about the process I'm going to go through. First off, you got to hold the airplane down, and this thing is not as easy as you might think. So I'm going to hold it down with a lead weight. This is an ankle or arm weights, and so that's 5 pounds worth of lead weight that is hopefully not going to let that thing go anywhere. Okay, so I think it'll be all right. And I've got it at the edge of the table where the prop can clearly go around. And so you want to secure the aircraft well before you do that. This is what I figured out to be the best way to do this. And next thing to do is turn on the radio and make sure we're on the right model, and we are SuperFly. And I'm not going to bother to plug this in where it goes under the canopy because it doesn't matter. And so what I'm going to first do is plug the watt meter into the battery so you can see the display. Okay. All right. So in the watt meter display now shows in the upper corner here the amps. Okay, this upper left corner is the amps. That's the voltage of the battery, 8.34 volts. Okay. And down here is the watts. In this lower right corner, and in the other corner is the milliamp hours that has passed through this watt meter. Okay, so I'm going to sit here. First off, now that the battery is in and ready, obviously 8.34 volts means it's a freshly charged battery, and you should always use a freshly charged battery. And I'm going to plug this in. Okay. Flight pack no data means it's connected. Okay, 8.3 volts is what it's saying, which is what the watt meter says. That's good. I'm going to check the controls. Yeah. Alright, they're working well. And so I'm going to first test the prop here, take the throttle cut off. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up slowly to 50% and listen to the motor and watch the watt meter. Okay, so I'm going to just hold it just in case. So here it goes up to 50%. Okay, about 7 amps, 55 watts. I'm going to go up to 75. 125 watts. 75 to 100, no change. Okay, so I noticed there that it stops increasing in speed at around 80%, not 75, but 80%. So that's something I want to note. And I got 125 watts out of it at 16 amps. Okay. Now you don't want to do that for very long, because although the ESC is rated for 20 watts, the motor and the battery, in terms of instantaneous burst, is not that is not rated for 20 amps. Okay, I think it's only rated for like 12 or 14. So the continuous for the battery, I think, was 12. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. And the continuous operation for the battery, I believe, was 12. And let's see here. That's not it. And the other, let's see, here we go. Okay, so the battery, yes, now the battery is okay. No, yeah, the 2S 1300 is what I'm using. So the 2S 1300, 39 amps is continuous, so that's not going to be a problem. And the burst is 78. Okay. And let me see what the other, where's the ESC, the motor and the motor. Okay. Where is the motor? There it is. Okay. So it's rated at 16 amps, maximum of 16 amps for 60 seconds. Okay, so you don't want to go very long with that. Now, so you pick a prop where at 50%, you're getting pretty good amps, and that was 55 amps at 50%. Okay, you can clear that. So the here, let me go ahead and unplug this. Okay, and I can shut this thing off and let it make it quit talking to me. Okay, so what did I see? Okay, I saw that it was a smooth transition up to 50%. At 50%, it was 55 amps, which is more than enough to fly this airplane. And so from 50% to 75 or 80%, it went from 55 amps to 125 amps. That's a lot of amp difference in the last 25% there, 30%. And so you want to fly around at 50, maybe 60% maximum for continuous flying. If you want to do a quick burst, you know, a vertical climb real quick, yeah, you can go to 80%, 100%, and but don't stay there but a few seconds and then come back down. So this is a pretty good match of that prop with the motor and the ESC, because unless you're just, and by the way, if you stay at 100% or, you know, full wattage on this, you'll drain the battery in like a minute and a half. I won't tell you how I know that, but it'll drain it pretty quick. And you don't want to ruin the battery. Draining it too quickly, getting it too hot will not be good for a battery. So, and you won't be flying very long. So, if you want to test your own props, get a watt meter. By the way, this is the brand is called Watts Up. Imagine that, Watts Up, and it comes without the connectors, and I soldered Dean connectors on it. There are other brands out there that they're all about the same price, around 50 bucks. And there are other ones that come already with connectors on them, and there's one brand that I forget off the top of my head that has Dean's connectors already on it. I prefer Dean's connectors. And so for a $50 tool to figure out what's the match between the prop, the motor, and the ESC and the battery is a pretty good thing if you are building stuff on your own, and they don't really recommend accurately. The manufacturers don't actually recommend accurately what you should use. Okay, the manufacturer of this airplane recommended an 8.6 prop. Okay, so the 8.6 prop, the GWS 8060, and at 50% throttle, it was only doing like 5.5 amps and 45 watts. And at a full throttle, it was only pulling 13 amps and 100 watts. So that prop wasn't getting the most it could out of the combination we have here. And I think the slow flyer style props work better for this. So you can take the recommendation. It'll be safe if you don't want to get a watt meter. If you want to take my recommendation with a tested watt meter, and you'll see in a future video this flying with this setup. It seems to work well. As I've always recommended, this airplane has a telemetry module in it, and I always know the voltage of the battery, and if the voltage drops too quickly or drops below a minimum that I don't want it to get below, and for this battery, I usually use a minimum voltage of 7.2. It gives me an alarm immediately that it's dropped below 7.2, because I don't want it to get below 6.5 or 6 for sure. That'll ruin a battery. So that's the watt meter. It's a great tool. And thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.